I'm Joy Harris, a Florida home economist. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make old-fashioned ship crackers. The recipe is very simple, and if you want a taste of the past, this is the recipe you'll want to try. You start with 2 cups of flour. Use a hard flour such as a bread flour. Bread flour is higher in gluten, and this is good for making hardtack, because hardtack or ship biscuits is a type of biscuit they used when they wanted it to last for a long time. So when explorers came over to the New World, they had ship crackers in their pockets too. So I'm going to show you how to make them, and this is more closely resembles the flour they would have used, the high gluten flour. Save the soft or low gluten flour for making biscuits. It's just 2 cups of flour. Salt is a known preservative, so add about a teaspoon of salt, maybe 2. And then you start with 1/2 to 3/4 cup of water. Now, depending on the flour that you use and the humidity in the air will determine how much water you put in here. But you just want to add enough so that it all sticks together, but you don't want it too sticky or too runny. So I'm stirring in about a 1/2 cup first. I'm going to save a little bit and see how this goes. It's a little thick, so I'm going to add a little more water. That's looking pretty good. Stir it until it holds together well. And see how it's starting to form into a clump or a ball? That's just the right amount of water. So now comes the fun part. You need to put some flour on a surface so that you can knead or roll out the dough. And a lightly floured surface, push some of the flour off to the side if you put a little too much on there, because you may have to add more flour as you work with it. And then with your hands, remove the dough. I'm still mixing in some of the dry flour with the wet dough while it's still in the bowl, and that way when I work with it on the mat, it won't stick together as much. Then just press it down and knead it about 4 or 5 times. All you want to do here is press it down flat as you can, fold it over, do it again. After you've done that about 4 or 5 times, you're ready to pat it out into a square. And then we're going to cut it into squares again. I'm going to put a little, it's getting a little sticky on top, turn it over, and then bake it. Now this will bake for quite a while, at 45 minutes in a hot oven, about 375 degrees. And when you bake it, what you're wanting to do is to just remove all the moisture from it, and then that way these ship crackers, or hardtack as they're also called, will last for maybe, a year, but they could easily last for months. And so these were perfect on long voyages on ships, or even in the Civil War, some of the soldiers would carry them in their pockets. And because they're so hard, they're kind of hard to break, hard to chew, they would break them up and put them in their coffee if they were lucky to have coffee, or they would put them in a broth, or just put them in water to soften them up. But once you have it pressed down, then cut it. I cut mine into 16 pieces, so divide it into 4 strips one way, and then 4 in the other. And then with a fork, you want to pierce the top of each one of these. The reason you do this is, once again, you want to incorporate air into the dough so that when it bakes, it will cook out all the moisture before they start to burn. Put it on a parchment-lined baking sheet. Now, as the side that you pricked, you'll want to put that side down. So be careful that the other side is exposed, because both sides actually need to be pricked. And by putting them the first side down, you can do the second one right here on the pan. If they come out in odd sizes like I have here, just make sure you put the larger pieces to the outside of the pan and the smaller ones on the interior. Okay, and then prick the top. And this is how simple it is to do these. if you want a taste of the past, this is a great recipe to try. There's not a whole lot of flavor to it, but it helped keep them alive. Even when some of the explorers came over here to the New World, and they didn't have any food when they got here, they still had their ship crackers to depend on. So it gave them some substance for a while. But then bake this in the oven for about 45 minutes, and here you have ship crackers or hardtack. I'm Joy Harris, and that's how you make ship crackers or hardtack.